Right, welcome back. I just want to apologise for the 18 minutes of looking at my fat hands and fingers at work, putting all those 83 parts on over 5 pages on the rear engine plate. After page 50, and I did the explanation of that, putting them parts on like for an hour every day after I get home from work, it just really got on my wick nerves for my American friends. And I actually got a comment on one of the other videos with the small parts of my mate Patrick Coraline on YouTube. He said, thank you for reminding me why I didn't build, I had to abandon my fine mould build because I just couldn't handle the stress of those parts. You're right, Patrick. Those parts are an absolute pain in the arse. So I'm not going to be doing an explanation video. I will show you each page that I did from page 50 to 55 that I put on. And I still haven't finished yet because the 83 parts that I put on, I've still got another 17 parts to put on after this, but I can't do that until I've done a bit more construction. So I do apologise for not doing an explanation video. I'm even boring you even more. So hopefully those of you who can't get to sleep at night, hopefully you enjoy that video and it helps you get to sleep. So I'm going to show you the pages, what I've done so far. Right, so first off, I've got the pages and I tallied it all up. Again, on the last page, I've still got another 17, 18 parts to put on, but you can see page 50 had 14, page 51 had 18, page 52 had 21, page 53 had 16, 54 had 12, and I put 2 on. And it's 83 parts in total, with another 18 to go, 17, 18 to go. So this is what I've got. I've done the bridge, like on the bottom, with the 2 parts. You glue those together to form one. But unlike just putting them straight in that little square, there's a channel on the inside of there and you slot it into place. And it hangs over the back because those will go in those square holes there, those 4 square holes. If you remember from the underneath video when I did this part, it was like 13 little T-shape pieces that look like the rear wing of a dragster. I've still got to put those on. I don't know if you can make it out the parts that I can put on because it's all white, so I'll stick my flash on. But you can see, they look, once on, they look really nice. Not bad at all. It's just the painstaking effort to get them on. Another thing I've noticed as well, I don't know if you can see it, but actually, if I do it that way, put it flat on the table, you can see that it's bent towards that way slightly. That's perfectly circular, but that's been bent to there. I don't know if it's the glue when I'm being putting the parts on, so I'm hoping when I put the bridge on that'll straighten all that out. Let's hope, because I don't want a wonky lid on the back of my Falcon after all that bloody effort. Right, so turning over to page 50, which I've already showed you, but I'll show you anyway. So you got all that work, all those parts, and there is 14 parts on this page. So that's all them dinky parts. Turning the page over, this is page 51, and there's 18 parts on this one. And you got your checklist at the beginning again. Turning the page over again. And you could see in the picture at the beginning there was absolutely loads of parts on there. So you got all those. And page 52 had 21 parts on it. Turning the page over to 53. This had 16 parts on it. Again, a completed picture. It shows you the T-shaped rods. I haven't put them in yet. turning the page over to 54 and 55. And you got all these other flimsy parts. Actually, one nearly snapped on me. I think it was that part there when I cut it off a sprue. When it goes around the edge, around the corner there, that nearly snapped on me, that did. I was quite fortunate actually. And that one nearly snapped on me as well, because I had to cut it off there and cut it off there, and it bent slightly, so I had to put that back into place. So let's go back to the top of the page. So that's 54. And last but not least, 55. Even though that looks like a tiny piece, that was a nightmare to get in as well, because it just wouldn't sit in the hole. And it didn't tell you that it had to go over, there's like two tiny little pegs on the top of this C shape. You had to put those through the grill. It doesn't show you that. Those are really thin parts, but I haven't cut those off the sprue yet, because I've got to put the bridge on, then put those on, and then put the 13 those on, and then that'll be all that complete. So that's 83 parts done, all that effort. This took me over the course of this week. I started on, I think it was the Sunday, and I finished yesterday, and I was doing an hour after work. On the Sunday, I had the Formula 1 to watch as well, so I did an hour, and I was like, you know what, I'm not doing any more of this today, because these tiny parts really got on my tits. So that's that done. So I'm now going to be primering this and then putting that into place, and then I can finish off that bit of work. So that's the engine plate done. Right, I've now done a bit more work on the rear engine plate, just the primer, and putting this piece on. So first of all, I primed it with my grey primer, let that dry. Went down really well, didn't need any touch-ups or anything. So if you remember this bridge plate, which is the same as the other bridge plate from the bottom, apart from these pieces, they like slide in with a groove instead of on the bottom where they go in through a square on the top. So them hang over, and those connect into these little holes here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn that back over. Once I clicked it in, even though it was on with the primer, it still clicked in really well. But the only trouble is, there's a bit of a gap where the plate this bridge meets the plate, and there was a gap all the way down. And so what I did is I just ran the glue inside there, put my scissor clamps on, and left that overnight to dry. Removed the scissor clamps, and it's dried really nice. So then I turned it over. I haven't primed any of this. I'm going to leave that in that colour. But this lip here is still going to be quite visible if you're looking at the Falcon from underneath. So what I did is I've got a bit of Domino's pizza card, cut it out, and then I taped it here and I taped it here, and then just primed all of that. Took the tape off, and that's what I'm with. That's what I'm left with. I've still got to spray paint the, I've still got to spray paint all that with the insignia white, and then I've obviously got to put that back on there, and then spray paint that the insignia white, because this piece of card here, this is going to be my mask for the open back part of the Falcon. Because on the bottom, do you remember on the bottom where just in front of the exhaust, there's one of these as well? Well, if I put this on, I'm not going to be able to get in underneath because it's very close quarters. So that's why I'm going to be using this. So I can actually spray that bottom lip on the bottom part that's already mounted onto the Falcon. But I'm really well chuffed with this. I've got to paint this obviously separately. I still haven't put the grills in or anything, and there's still a bit more tiny work I've got to do. I've got to put some decals on here once it's been sprayed in the insignia white, and then I've got to put them T-shapes on after that. But that's where I'm sitting at the moment. Right, I'm getting ready for primer on the Falcon now. At this point I'm going to do the top first. So I've masked off the windowless canopy, the frame, on the inside with some normal household masking tape and pushed that into place. I've also put a bit of blu-tack in the mounting area for the radio dish. I've put a drop of blu-tack in the little photo etch bits on the top there. On the round by the gunner turret area, I've got some blu-tack. I rolled it out very, very thinly and put it round the edges of the clear part, and then cut out some pizza card. I was originally going to go with the Doritos card, but I felt it was too thick and it wasn't flexible enough, so I just got some, you know, pizza card, you know, the ones that you cook out the freezer. So I've cut that circle and mounted that on top of the blu-tack. I've put some blu-tack in there for that plate, one side of the turret area. Cut out the thin pizza card, which I've just explained, and then lined all the way around there, down there, and all the way around there. Just rolled out very thinly some blu-tack and put it in, and then just put the pizza card on top. So I'm just going to pause this a sec. And then last but not least, going round to the engine exhaust, I've just put I've just rolled out my normal 1mm masking tape out on the roll and just pushed it all the way around, and then cut it off there, and then just dabbed it down with my finger to make sure it's properly sealed. And that's now ready for primer on the top. Right, welcome back. I'm in my porch and I've put the first layer of primer down. This is going to be on the top, and to be honest, first impressions, it don't look too bad. Not bad at all. Let's get it on the side here. Yeah, it's not too bad. Looks like I've got to touch up a bit there, but that doesn't matter because I can do that when it's on its side, on its back. Yeah, not looking too bad, to be honest. Move the cat out of the way. Yeah, not looking too bad. So with that, with the top being done, it's time to turn it over and start the bottom part. Right, so back in my porch, I've sprayed the bottom, and again, it's not looking too bad at all. Still a bit of the bare plastic showing, but I can't get in there, to be honest. The spray just won't go in there for some stupid reason. Around the back, again, a little bit showing through, but that's fine. But I've sprayed the engine plate where these go on. I've still got and I've sprayed them as well on the sprue, and they've got to be put on. But yeah, not looking too bad. I've touched up around the sides as well. I think the mandible's not too bad in between there either. I've touched up around the sides as well, so it's not looking too bad. So now all that's primer work done, it's time to actually spray the model now with the Insignia white.